Hello, everyone. This is episode 4 of Udayini Talks, and we are in conversation with Olivia Adhikari,
Hello.
the owner of Olivia's Cafe and Bistro.
Hi.
So, in Udayini Talks, we are featuring women led businesses and how they are thriving in today's day and age. So, the conversation is going to be very informal. So,
Okay.
we would like to start off with your introduction. Like, what has been your background? How did you come into this business? So, a little bit about yourself.
Adhikari, I'm the founder of Olivia's Cafe and Bistro. We've been here for a year now. This September marked our 1 year anniversary.
Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations to surviving the first year.
Yes, absolutely. Surviving is the right word that you've used.
Okay.
Especially for me because I am not from a hospitality background at all.
Okay.
I did my bachelor's in economics and my master's in human resource management.
Okay.
Post which I was working in Pune for 4 to 5 years as an HR. And I just decided that I wanted to open a cafe of my own. It had been a dream that I was putting it off for later, but I got kind of bored, to be honest, with my job, with the routine and mundane tasks. So then I just decided that why not now? Why later? And then basically put everything that I had saved up into this beautiful space that we have right now. And that's how Olivia was born.
That's amazing. Now, you say that you are not from hospitality background, so
Not
that
at
brings
all.
up a lot many questions.
Yeah.
So, being from economics, then HR, then into hospitality. So, how has this journey been? And to add to that, another question is that what skill set from your human resources background is helping you now? So, if you could like shed some light on that.
Of course. So the journey has not been an easy one, to be honest. It's a lot of up and down for us because not coming from a hospitality background has its disadvantages, especially because you don't know where to start from. Everything is zero. But I
Yes.
feel like that's also an advantage because you come with a new perspective that you bring in.
Right.
In terms of skill sets, I think because I was in HR, I was so used to the corporate life of, SOPs, processes, these need to be set in place. That's exactly what we are doing at Olivia's. We have this printed out pages, in fact, in our kitchen at our barista counter, wherein a coffee has to be made in a particular proportion and served in a particular
I
way.
already love that. Processes in place. Yeah, true.
It's very important. The
Yes.
standardization of things is quite important, is what we've realized now. In the
Yes.
beginning, it took a lot of time for our team to also understand because they have been working in different areas, and none of the places that they have worked at had these in place.
Okay.
So it was a change for them.
Hmm.
But I think now that we are here, it's quite easy for them because even if the team changes, nothing changes at Olivia's because the coffee that you get 1 year ago is the same coffee you get today.
That's
So
amazing because that's exactly what we require right now. That uh, when you build systems, people are not dependent on you.
absolutely.
Yeah, so the systems run independently of you. Is that
Right, yeah.
yeah?
You become especially self-reliant,
Yes,
and I mean, it's amazing because you're not dependent on people anymore.
yes,
Your business is run the way you want it to run. So
yes.
that's something I do appreciate. That is something I've bought in from my HR career, I would say. The second thing is because I loved talking to people. Even then, that is something I have bought in here. I love talking to people here. I meet new people like you, and we've made a wonderful, community. We are approximately 2,600 people on our social media,
Oh wow.
and over the last 1 year, there have been regulars coming in, just for a cup of coffee or just to say hi to me, and that's amazing.
And that I agree. It's a quaint little place. Like I love coming here just to grab a cup of coffee or
Thank
to
you.
sit by myself for some time. That's very true. So now coming to this question that when you say you're not from a hospitality background,
Yeah.
how did you actually manage to put things into place? Like, for example, you have some of the best coffee that I've had in Pune.
Oh.
Okay. Then you have something like a Sydney's omelette.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yes.
your menu is extensive.
Mhm.
Now, without having that kind of background, how did you actually manage to do that?
I sometimes feel that this business or this cafe restaurant business cannot be run without passion.
Right.
If you don't have the passion to get into this business, I would suggest don't get into it because the money comes and goes, but the passion has to stand. Now,
That's true.
while I give the preface of this is because the menu that you spoke about comes from my heart. The way we built the menu last year, sitting with me and my chef, it was an entire cumulative process. I knew what I had to bring into the menu. It was a love between Indian cuisine and European cuisine. So all of that we had to capture it together. And because you suggested the Sydney's omelette and the bear, it was during that time that actually Bear had come out,
Right.
and I was especially inspired by that show. It kind of led me to make that decision. To be honest, it pushed me to make that decision. And yeah, so I decided to keep two things in the menu from the show. So we have the bear sandwich and we have the Sydney's omelette from the show. So you should definitely come and try that out.
Great. Now, coming back to passion,
Mhm.
passion alone cannot help you run the cafe, I
Yep.
presume. You need to also have some skill sets. So, what were the skill sets? So,
Yeah.
what were the skill set that you had to acquire
Yes.
in order to put the cafe together? Because brewing up good coffee, like having a good menu in place, all of this requires some degree of understanding of how this industry works.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, like I mentioned, passion alone won't actually make it happen. So,
Agreed. So you
yeah,
have to understand the grounds of how a cafe is run,
right,
and I was quite lucky that I was able to do that
right.
firsthand. So after I left my job, what I did is I went to a cafe and learned how to run the business, at
Hmm.
least at the back end of it.
Hmm.
And after that, I also was working at a bakery where obviously I was not allowed to touch things then. I was just kept at the back end of things there as well. But I
Hmm.
learned a lot of things on how the business is actually run.
Okay.
How, for example, you were mentioning the coffee is brewed, and that is when my interest grew for coffee. Post which I actually did a barista course on how to brew coffee.
Oh,
So I am a certified barista from Barista Cafe Academy.
noted. Yeah.
Which is why you will see I always tell people that our menu revolves around the coffee, because
Right.
our menu is designed in such a way that the pairings happen perfectly with a cup of coffee. So you'll have a sandwich which goes well with coffee, you'll have a side which goes well with coffee, you have waffles or pancakes, so it goes well with coffee.
And the Vietnamese espresso, I can vouch for
Vouch
that.
for. Awesome.
Yeah, I did order that today as well.
Yeah,
Okay,
so that's how I think you're right, passion alone won't do justice to how you run the business. So
right.
for me it was especially great because I had first hand experience of how things were done. So I did those two, and then I did the course as I mentioned, and then in fact even after I did the course, I took approximately 6 to 7 months just to get the idea of what our cafe would be about. So that's when we actually started the planning phase of it.
Oh,
After the planning phase was over, we rented out this space and we started building. Just got a couple of like designers on board and decided how each corner should look like at Olivia's.
so now this is a fun question. Okay,
Okay.
how did you decide upon the aesthetic of it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is inspired from essentially how I was brought up and how I was at different places, I would say. Because my father is an engineer, we were traveling around the world, I would say.
Hmm.
I was born in Kolkata, but I've lived in Mumbai most of my life. I did
Okay.
my studies in Pune. I
Okay.
was there in Kuwait for a bit
Oh,
because he was transferred there. And then I was also in Manchester to do my studies there. So I've been to different places and I tried to get all of them to Olivia's. So you will see that we have a lot of boho inspired
yes.
architecture. We
Yes.
also have a lot of neutral palettes.
Yes.
So that is something, earthy tones comes from Bengal, I would say, because that is something that terracotta is something I wanted to go with,
Yeah.
which is why we have the pottery painting section, because that is what I wanted to get in.
So like an ode to your roots.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and I can see the prints too.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So I'm kind of interested in art and painting, and I've been doing that since I was a child, to be honest. So all of that goes to my mom. All the credit goes to my mom there, because being a Bengali, she obviously pushed me more towards literature and arts,
Yeah.
and I have to thank her for that, because now this space is built around that. I'm not a designer by profession, but I kind of have a knack for it because of what of the things that
Of
I
the
have,
cultural root that you
yeah, that
actually have.
I've done, yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. And that is actually seen in the way Olivia comes across to people. And like the first time when I entered the cafe, I kind of got that vibe that this is something that comes from the heart,
Yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely,
like you
absolutely.
have to have an eye for design,
Yeah.
basically. So now coming to the challenges or the blockers. that you probably faced in your first year, now that you've just celebrated your first anniversary?
Yes.
Maybe it's the right time to ask you that what has been those?
So a couple of things actually, because again I'll come back to the fact that I was not from the hospitality industry. So when we just started, everything was new. Everything that came up to us was a challenge. Hiring the right set of people, getting our menu prices set, buying the equipment for us, vendor management, all of it kind of became a challenge for us. There were a couple of our neighbors who also suggested that we should close shop. To them, that I say that we're here 1 year down the line. So yeah, I would take pride in that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, but I feel like every challenge that we have surpassed has come because I had the right set of team in place. Even today, we had have a team which has been with us for over a year.
Oh wow.
So that is something that we would
So
want
your
to
attrition
celebrate.
rate is very low.
Very low.
That's great achievement for somebody who is like a former
Right.
HR. Yeah, I mean, kudos to your skill set there.
Thank you.
Because in this industry, I've known that the attrition rate is actually quite high.
Yeah, yeah, it is, but I
Huh.
feel like because we've kind of kept our people well,
Yeah,
and we've treated them right, they've been with us for so long. I'm not saying that there have not been people who have come and gone in the way, but our core team has been the same.
amazing, amazing. That's beautiful. Now, when it comes to your achievements, now let's talk about some of that.
Okay.
So, what would you probably say that is your biggest achievement in this past 1 year?
So first is surviving the first year.
Yes.
So I would say that's our biggest achievement by far. Second, I would say is because we were featured in the Times of India, newspaper. We
That's
were
wow.
featured by Pune Mirror. We were recently featured by Pune Food Blogger as well.
Okay.
So the smallest of things that we were featured for, we did a Poga event for Art with Puppies.
Okay.
So these kind of workshops that we've been doing, I feel like getting noticed for something different that we do in Pune is something I would consider as an achievement.
Absolutely, and that too in your first year. I mean, that's I mean, that's quite a feat.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So, apart from all of this,
Mhm.
now coming to the technicalities of it, the economics of running a cafe business, like,
Mhm.
could you shed some light on it? Let's say a newcomer comes to you and asks you for advice on the same, that, okay, I want to set up shop. अभी मुझे एक cafe चलाना है.
Mhm.
What are the first few things that person would need to do?
First is keep your finances straight,
Okay.
because if for example you start a cafe, first I would give you an advice that you start a cafe somewhere in September and October. The
Oh,
reason being is that the Diwali period is just getting started. So दिवाली के बाद बोलते हैं कि असली business चालू हो जाता है. So दिवाली का time you take, to set up the business, to understand the market,
right.
because after Diwali you won't have time to sit down. So first is, even when you're planning to start a cafe or a restaurant, this, I would believe, this is the best time to start a new business. Don't start it during the rainy season, because it'll be a disappointment for you.
Absolutely.
Every business on this lane, or at least what I have understood, goes through a slump during the rainy season.
Of
So the
course.
second thing that I would tell people is keep your funds ready for the rainy days,
Hmm.
because that period, especially with the cultural things in Pune, especially during Ganpati, during Navratri, during the Shehra, these are the three times when people actually don't come out as often, at least in
Oh,
a city like Pune,
okay.
because
Interesting.
probably we are so culturally driven in the city.
Hmm.
It is less.
Hmm.
So during that period, you keep the rainy day funds away for you. So these are the two things that, in terms of finances, keep it ready. The third thing, this is obviously, I don't know for others, but for me, it's because you have a team in place who are ultimately your responsibility.
Absolutely.
So if you feel like you're falling short of funds, the basic thing that you need to keep in check is a runway for at least you to pay their salaries for the next 3 months. Because it always happens that in 1 year of you doing, I know for us, 1 year of us doing business, it has been difficult for us to manage funds. It's
Absolutely.
not like we have a third party investor, it's just me using up my savings, which is quite limited, to be fair. So in that, I have at least made sure that none of my team members, get devoured of the salary that we pay to them.
Right.
So that is something that I would recommend, that the business owners should keep in mind, that the ethics of it, just keep a runway of at least 3 months for your team to be paid on time. Mhm.
Do you think ethics really matters when it comes to doing business? What are these values that you think would be important when you are trying to run a business?
I don't know about others. I can't speak as a
Of
newcomer in
course.
this
Yeah.
business. But for me personally, yes, ethics do matter. It matters how you treat people.
Right.
What we have seen over the last 1 year, and there have been times where I, felt like, क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है? It's just 10 rupees, right? But it matters
Right.
because for those 10 rupees, the guest that you treat well is going to come back to you again. So
Absolutely.
it does matter how you treat people. Respect, I feel like it's important. You can only ask for respect if you give respect to people.
That's true.
So that is something we have realized over the last 1 year. We've spoken to our team as well, who have told us that this is a very new atmosphere for them to work in, because this is not how they were treated earlier. It was a very clear divide between owners and workers. I shouldn't use this word, but that is how the team is treated.
Hmm.
So we try not to do that at Olivia's, at least. We sit together and eat lunch. Whatever is made in the kitchen is something that we consume as well. There is no divide in terms of that. So yeah, that is how we give them respect, and that is how I feel like we have gotten the same love back. I mean, there have been times where we don't have a team member missing in our, we have a team member missing in our group, and that day we've all just pitched in extra and then done extra work, and that does not come out of just money. It comes out of the love that you've given to people.
Absolutely.
And the same goes, I'm just talking about the team, but I'm saying the same thing in terms of, say, vendor management, in terms of how you treat guests. We don't even call them customers, we call them guests. Anybody who comes at Olivia's is a guest at Olivia's.
Right.
And that's how you treat. The moment you set your foot in, we provide you the most exceptional, we try to provide you the most exceptional service from our end.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would believe ethics do matter.
Great. I mean, that is something that really sums up our conversation, because when it comes to women led businesses, this is a pattern that we have observed, that a lot of them, they talk about the fact that, just lending an ear to to the person who is coming through your door, or just giving them, like you mentioned, exceptional service, treating your employees well. This is something that is very unique to women led businesses, and I think you guys are also trying to do the same.
I would believe that, to be honest, because women have so much empathy in them. I honestly feel like women leaders are better leaders because we have
I
empathy.
agree.
I don't
Yeah.
think empathy is a negative trait at all, and women can be as equal or better leaders than men in some cases. So
Absolutely. Now, the last question: why the name Olivia's?
why the name Olivia is because I'm a narcissist.
Okay.
So my mother, she is an
Huh.
English teacher,
Right.
and there's a Shakespearean play,
Hmm.
Othello,
Hmm.
wherein there's a character called Olivia. And while she was reading, she was going through her, I think, first year college or something. She was reading that play. She loved the name Olivia a lot. And when I was born, against all people, what she said is that my daughter will be named Olivia, and I'm so grateful to her for that, because during my entire, life, people have come up to me because I have a unique name, and our name today stands out, and we have set it in stone. So all thanks to her, to be fair.
Amazing, amazing. This was a wonderful chat. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for giving your time. Okay, fun fact, she was the first person to be featured on Udayini Talks, but we had to retape this conversation. But thank you
Yes,
so much
yes.
for giving your time again.
No
It was a
problem.
lovely chat.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank you.